and welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender of the 19th Judicial Circuit. We sort of kicked off summer with a wonderful guest, Andy Treadwell, and we are going to, I guess, kick off the fall season. I guess it's September 21st.
That's right. It doesn't feel like fall, but
I know.
it is technically fall.
With Andy Treadwell, because we learned and talked about so much at Indian River State College. I still, because I'm, a dinosaur and I've been here forever, and I grew up with IRCC. It's so hard for me to say IRSC. But anyway, we had so much to talk about on our first show. I wanted to continue that conversation because there's so much going on at the college. Now, before we get started, Andy, give us your title with IRSC.
Of course. Well, Diamond, first, thanks for having me back. I know we kind of filled up that last show and got to the end, and there were a number of things that we could have continued talking about, so I appreciate the opportunity here. But I'm Andy Treadwell. I'm the campus president of the Indian River State College Pruitt campus in Port St. Lucie. And that's, again, the largest branch campus that we have at Indian River State College. We have 5 physical campuses, and then we have the IRSC Global, which is sort of our virtual online campus space.
Which is such a big deal. I don't think we talked about it last time. I did not review our last show, but that is a big deal. And for you, you've been with IRSC how many years now?
It'll be 13 years in November.
Wow.
It's hard to believe. I came to the college as a young 20-something, and now I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old in public school. So, tempus fugit, right?
No, but to rise to be the president of a campus, that's a huge deal. And my favorite campus, because Senator Pruitt, I still have to call him Senator Pruitt, did so much for us, and of course, helped us get that campus.
Well, I've had some tremendous mentors, and I know we talked a little bit about this in the last show, but
yeah.
To be able to work for former Senate President Ken Pruitt, and then President Dr. Ed Massey, and now for Dr. Tim Moore, I'm very fortunate in my career.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to where we left off and what's going on that we didn't get to talk about.
Last show, we talked a lot about nursing, so I just want to remind your viewers that we are expanding our nursing program, specifically at the Pruitt campus. That's an ongoing project, but we expect that to be completed in the first quarter of 2023. So
wow.
We're going to have a big community event. We'll have everyone out to see. We've got about 30,000 plus square feet under remodel right now. We're doing 10 state-of-the-art simulation labs that are going to be very helpful. It's going to be phenomenal.
And that's going to be on the Pruitt campus?
It's going to be on the Pruitt campus. So we're trying to double the size of our program, and as soon as we get that up and running, we know we need nurses, and we're going to continue to grow that program for the state. The needs are there. Second, I know we talked a lot about our Promise program, which is really exciting, and our Promise program is off and running. I'm happy to report that
have you gotten takers?
We have. It has been wonderful to have students back on campus. I have had a few traffic jams there at the Pruitt campus, and I tell you, it warms our hearts as educators to see students back on campus, to see students in classrooms. It feels a little more normal. It feels like a college campus should feel, and that's wonderful. So we're up double digits in enrollment this semester, which we're one of the outliers in the state. So our Promise program really has been that springboard to make sure students are coming.
Okay.
And that's great at a time.
Now, I'm sorry, Andy, but it's kind of down as far as enrollment in some areas, but especially with this, it's up in our area?
Well, let me put it this way. We have eclipsed our fall 2020 enrollment. So fall 2020 was probably the first big semester we had after COVID.
Right.
So we're not back to the fall 2019. We're not back to pre-COVID numbers just yet, but we're inching up, and we need to get there. We need students back in the classroom working towards their transfer degree or their workforce degree. Because every time I talk to employers, there are needs.
And how do you, oh gosh, I always get so carried away because there's so much to talk about. Because this is, this isn't my area, and I learn every time I talk to you or anyone involved in the college. But what are educators such as you? How do you feel about like online degrees versus on campus? I mean, talk to me.
You know, online degrees and online learning are essential just because students now have a choice, right? We're in a very hyper-competitive industry because whereas you used to be able to only go to the college that was nearby, now your options are endless. You can go to colleges around the world. So we've got to have that option for our students. Make sure that if they need to continue their degree, you know, we have students move away sometimes, but they're very close to that degree, want to make sure that they can finish with us. So we've got to have that option. We have a lot of data that says that sometimes students don't learn as well in certain programs or in certain classes. You know, mathematics is a difficult one. Physical sciences, we learned a lot over COVID about how to try and teach that in a distance format, but that can come with issues. There's a lot of hands-on learning. So it's necessary, but by the same token, we also want to make sure that we have that on-campus environment because that truly is the best way to
college experience.
It is the best way to engage with our students, and I think our faculty and our professional staff and our administration would all agree with that.
So everything is back fully on campus. You go to the classroom, you see your teacher.
Diamond, that's correct. We have three different formats of classes. We have an on-campus format where it's very traditional. You know, students show up, they take their class once or twice a week with their faculty member and work towards their program. We also have online, which is, you know, fully in a virtual space. But then we have hybrid courses, which is an interesting model. It's students will do some of it in person, and then they will do some of it in the online space. And we do find that our faculty enjoy teaching in that format, and many of our students like a little bit of the hybrid where some of it's online, but I also get to engage with my instructor on a weekly basis.
Now, how does that work? And I'm just ignorant on this. The teacher teaches to the class, and if you want to do it online, you can Zoom in
it varies by instructor, and you know, I don't want to try and pigeonhole it into a certain format, but essentially, you know, some faculty members will offer one lecture a week, and then you know, one lecture may be didactic online, or a lot of the work just be in the online space. So it's less in classroom time and more flexibility for the students who, you know, I again, want to see my instructor a little bit, but I can also handle the online format. So it's a little bit of best of both worlds, right?
Okay. But we were talking before the show, Andy, about you did the research, and tell us what that showed.
So in moving forward, you know, some programs need to be online. Some programs can't be online. You know, we couldn't teach welding online. So we try and do what we can for our students, but we have to make sure that our offerings meet their needs. That's, you know, that's one of our president's goals, to make sure we're meeting our students, who are our clients, they're our customers. Where they're at. So that's kind of how we build our schedule on an annual basis. And, you know.
But they did a study. We talked about a study. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's all right. And, you know, this ties a little bit into nursing. And we did. Before the show, we talked a little bit about the Treasure Coast Skills Gap study.
And they did it 2019, and you found that.
So again, it pays to have Pete Tesh and the Economic Development Council on the Pruitt campus because we talk a lot about this. But in 2017, 2019, and 2020, they did an economic skills gap study for our region, and they found that there's a number of areas. We need more nurses and healthcare workers, and we talked a lot about that last show. But we need people on the manufacturing floors. You know, manufacturing workers. We're reshoring manufacturing in America. We've got to have the ability to fill those roles. That's an incredible need as manufacturing grows on the Treasure Coast. And then industrial skills trades.
Such as?
You know, your HVAC, your electrical, your automotive technology workers, welding. I mean, there are outstanding jobs in the community right now, and we need students to come in and get that training, which is often quick training, right?
And there's positions for them. And
Absolutely.
guess what? I mean, of course, here our lawyers, have 7 years of advanced education, student loans, blah, 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 blah. And then you hear the air conditioning guy comes to your house
Right.
and you find out he's making twice as much as some of the, and you're like, oh my gosh. So I'm not begrudging them. I'm just saying, number one, in these fields, there are positions
Yep.
available. And number two, you're going to make some pretty darn good money.
So we've got some exciting news on this front. We continue to develop new apprenticeships in these areas. We've also, probably the best piece of news for the community is we're about to bring a new training facility online. It's the Eastman Advanced Workforce Training Complex.
Right, okay.
Which we have been working on for a number of years. I want to say we first made that legislative request in 2013.
Really? Okay.
And that was to remodel a building, and it lasted so long that the state said, hey, that building you're going to remodel is such a pig, we're not going to put new state money into it. And
Right.
we had to come up with a replacement
And this
project.
is on the main campus,
This
right,
is on the
Andy?
main
Okay.
campus up in Fort Pierce. It's going to be behind our Tomeo Center, but it's about a 55.
What's the Tomeo Center?
Well, Tomeo was a gentleman who put his name on a building.
Okay.
But that's where we used to do a lot of our adult education. The Tomeo Center is now going to be our School for Education and our Child Development Center.
Oh, okay.
So-
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So the Advanced Workforce Training Complex is about a 55,000 square foot facility. Of
course it is.
It's enormous. It's beautiful. It's 2 giant wings that are going to include all of what I just talked about, your
Right.
HVAC, your automotive and your marine technology, your welding, so on and,
And
so
it's
forth.
hands-on. You're going to weld. You're going to...
It's hands-on
Wow.
down these wings, and there's makerspace in between all the wings.
What do you mean makerspace?
Makerspace. So there's a lot of cross-training, and there are needs for these areas to come together.
Oh,
and,
okay,
and
okay.
almost get a sense of what it's like to be out on manufacturing
Right.
floors. So it's a tremendous facility. We look forward to sharing this with our community, with our employers. Right now, I'm working with Mr. Tesh and the EDC and our team to try and have a CEO roundtable with some of our local manufacturers, just to show them, here's what we've been working towards. Here are some of the opportunities to attach to the college with apprenticeships and quick training programs, because we really do need their support as well.
Right.
And then
to send them out in the field, like an internship.
Correct.
Right.
And then to ask
wow.
them, what do they need? Because it's always
Yeah.
important. And this is where
Right,
our state is
right.
trying to go to make sure we're the best at workforce training. The governor's initiative is to be the best in workforce education by 2030. But we've got to connect with employers even better to make sure we're hitting the mark.
Right. Oh my goodness. Now, how does it, I just know about a Juris Doctorate and what it takes, because you get myopic and focused. But do you get degrees in air conditioning or HVAC, and how does that work?
We have everything from quick training credentials and certificates to clock hour programs to apprenticeships that all can build up to degrees. So what we like to do with a lot of our skills trade programs
Right.
is we build them into credentials, and they build up to a degree. And so if
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
what can typically happen, right, is a lot of the students who come through these programs are in such high demand, they're offered jobs prior to
Yeah.
even finishing programs. So we want them to have natural stopping points to be able to earn that productive credential with us, and then be able to come back at some point and go on further for a degree.
Now, does someone that does that, are they taking math and English and stuff? I mean,
Well, we've had some recent changes with the state
Right.
where they've put a more math and English requirements, so to speak, into some of these trades type programs
Okay.
and associative science degrees, really, which are your 2-year workforce degrees.
Okay.
So we're working through those changes right now.
and let me stop you. Wait a minute. Those are what they're called, 2-year workforce degree?
Your associative science degrees are typically less of your general education requirements
Right.
and more applied to the area that you're working
Okay,
towards.
so you can just focus. Okay, go
All
ahead.
right. And that's what happens. A lot of our students will get an AS degree and a workforce degree, and then someday they'll want to come back potentially for a baccalaureate degree, and that's where you get a lot of the gen ed requirements, some of the math and English on the back end. But, those are requirements of the state. Those are requirements of our accreditors. We've got to abide by that. So.
Do most manufacturer people that own businesses and stuff like that, like if I wanted to be a welder, are they going to ask me if I have, how valuable is that degree? I'm obviously any degree of any sort is, priceless in my book, but how valuable is that degree to someone an employer?
Well, again, it's not just a piece of paper.
Right.
The learning outcomes and program outcomes that we build into every program are sort of that guarantee to an employer with that Indian River State College stamp that, yes, we've trained this individual and they're going to enter into the workforce with a degree of knowledge that you understand as an employer.
That you didn't get in your garage growing up with your dad.
Can you get into welding? And exactly. And, can you get into some of these things by other means? Absolutely.
Sure.
And I don't want to discount that at all because everybody has a pathway into the workforce.
Yeah.
But that's what we try and do is we try and build these in short incremental opportunities because not everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody wants to go to college for a long time.
Right.
Sometimes it's I want to get in. 6 weeks later, I want to get out with something meaningful and I want to go hit the job site.
Right. Now, when is that? And it's going to be on the main campus, and when is it going to open?
Main campus, I anticipate that we'll have a ribbon cutting or dedication ceremony about March of 2023.
Wow.
I think we may have been delayed a little bit. The supply chain is still backed up a wee bit. But we're extremely excited to get that online. And one of the things it's going to do is it's going to help show young people that, this is not your grandfather's manufacturing floor anymore. This is a high-tech industry. We're going to have virtual welding. We may have talked some about this last time.
I don't think we did.
All right. Well, it's going to be really flush with, tremendous technology and equipment. And
you're going to have virtual welding?
It's
oh my God!
It's all kinds of training equipment to be able to work with more students and get more people through the pipeline.
Whoa! That's okay.
It will be neat.
So nurses, what are all the areas?
So
that
nursing,
the study found.
Nursing, manufacturing, skills trades we talked about, and then of course logistics and distribution in the most recent skills gap study.
Wow.
As we see the Amazons and the FedExes and the Cheney brothers
Wow.
and we've got a lot moving to the area that's going to require CDL licenses, going to require understanding of industrial floors, so a lot of OSHA training, and we're trying to work with our major employers on their needs on that end. So, some of those employers don't need as much training or education, but we still want to make sure we're good community partners.
Well, and let's talk about our community. What kind of buy-in have you gotten from the, for internships or I guess apprenticeships, I should say?
We're doing great with the state of Florida. It seems the legislative model has changed over time where they're not just trying to fund our operation, but they're trying to put out funding out there that can really follow the student and attach to business. So we've been encouraged to develop more apprenticeships. We've got a couple coming online that are going to attach to manufacturing. They're going to attach to mechatronics, AutoCAD. But we also have, healthcare industry apprenticeships as well. These just take more of an attachment to the employer who have to, sponsor these as well as Indian River State College.
Well, I know, and we may have talked about this before, but sitting on the board of trustees for the hospital, the need is tremendous.
I think I used this line the last time we talked, but we've spoken with every president of all of the local hospitals, and they said that they'll basically take any nurse, any allied health service provider that we can produce
Think
tomorrow.
About that.
And it's it just goes to show that we really do need to increase our pipeline to help our area. So.
Okay, so what else do you want to talk about?
veterans.
Okay, the veterans, yeah, okay.
I have to address our veteran population. Dr. Tim Moore is a 7-year veteran of the United States Army.
Right.
When he came to the college, he really wanted to make a concerted effort to help our veteran community, to help our veteran students. We applied for a United States Department of Education grant about a year ago and got it. We were one of 14 colleges and universities.
And how much money was that?
It was about $450,000
Wow.
for a 3-year grant. But what it allowed us to do was create a Veteran Center of Excellence. And some colleges will dedicate one room, 2 rooms maybe. We took the old Schreiber Center, which is a 11,000 square foot conference center at the Pruitt campus.
Right.
You know, we do a lot of community events there.
Right. Right.
And we've made that our Veteran Center of Excellence. So we have a full-time veteran specialist. We have a veteran advisor on site. They're there all week long. They help our veteran students come in. But we're going beyond that. We're trying to make sure that that facility is a benefit to our community. We know our veterans have all kinds of needs outside of education and training. So we've opened that up to nonprofits. We've opened it up to, you know, community members. However we can help our veterans, we want to be there.
So it's kind of a one-stop shopping if you're a veteran.
A little bit.
I mean, in the sense that they can go there, obviously, for education. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about that. But also, if they need to be directed because they're having mental health issues or something, they can. You're not going to provide that, I understand,
Right.
at the Schreiber Center, but you're going to be able to tell them where to go.
Exactly, and we've learned a lot about that. I can say that Cam Medina and Matthew Patterson, our 2 folks who are full-time at the Veterans Center, have learned a lot about being those
Are
directors.
they veterans themselves?
They are veterans themselves, absolutely, Diamond. So they understand the mindset of our veterans. And, they've done a tremendous job reaching out to the community. Just a couple quick stories. One, we hosted the Do You Give a Ruck organization this past weekend. We had the second annual Family Fun Ruck right there at the Pruitt campus. Dr. Moore led the way with Jimmy Lee Jackson, the founder of the organization. 750 people walking around the Pruitt campus for the 1 mile ruck in honor of 9/11 and all those lost.
Wow.
It was a special day, but those are the types of organizations we want to attach to and try and serve, all for the benefit of our community and for our veterans.
What does Do You Give a Ruck stand for or mean?
Well, a ruck, and I'm a civilian as they call it.
Okay, just to help me.
But a ruck is a military march, typically with a pack. And and it's almost a bonding exercise.
Sure.
Where civilians and veterans and military personnel alike can just enjoy the camaraderie of a march like that. So, the idea behind the Do You Give a Ruck event was we went for a 1 mile ruck. Everybody had packs. We all had non-perishable goods, and that benefited Sarah's Kitchen.
Oh, wow.
And so we donated a lot of food that day.
Oh.
One additional story I gotta tell you is Cam, our on-site veteran specialist, was out in the community and learned that the VA had lost some inside space for meeting with veterans one-on-one who have endured PTSD.
Right.
And they were meeting in a veterans park. And Cam came to me and said, these guys are out in the elements. Can we do something about that? And I said, absolutely. So we opened the doors. Said, anytime that you all need to meet here, please use this facility at no charge. We want to make sure that, again, we're doing all we can to serve our veterans, even if it's sort of outside that scope of the Indian River State College education and training environment.
Wow. Well, now, I know, you're not going to believe this. We got about less than 5 minutes.
We really can talk it up, can't we?
I'm telling you. But if you're I just want to, so the veterans that are watching are clear. If you're a veteran, you can go to the Pruitt campus.
So we're not a one-stop shop.
Right.
But a lot of the veterans who have come, they're interested in maybe one class. They're interested in a program or some retraining. We can help them understand their GI Bill benefits or what they're entitled to help them, get education and training, or to help them understand, here's what I did in my military service and how that can now translate into credits already. So you may be closer to a degree or a certificate than you ever realized just because of your service. And
Is there any financial, like, discount or whatever for veterans, or?
we have programs, and the federal government has a number of programs.
Okay, well, I just.
to help take care of our vets, and that's what Matt and Cam are experts at.
Well, yeah.
You know, as for sometimes a veteran will come in and end up expressing some frustration with the VA or talk about a need in the community, and because these gentlemen are so tapped into all of the nonprofits and organizations that serve veterans, we can, you know, guide them in that sense too. But that's a tertiary role that you know, they just enjoy doing, because again, anything we can do to help our veterans, we're glad to do. It just may fall outside that education realm.
Right. But if a veteran wants to take just one class or something, they can get them hooked up, and they can get them to, you know, tuned into whatever financial benefits they can get, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And part of my favorite, you know, what's going on at the VCE, as we call it, is that it's not just, you know, those men and women who are returning from the most recent conflicts. There are Vietnam era veterans who are coming through our door and interested in, you know, I need some help with technology. How can I get that? You know, I'd like to learn more about photography. How can I get that? So, you know, again, it doesn't have to be your traditional aged student for us to be able to help. If a veteran is interested in anything that we might offer, we're happy to talk with them and help them find a way to get those costs covered.
Okay. Again, we're got a couple minutes. Just in general, for those who are watching this, if you just have, you're thinking, you know, you're a housewife that now the kids are you know, off to school, or you're whatever, a veteran, disabled, want to learn how to weld or whatever. Do you call that main number on the website, and who do you ask for to figure out some direction?
The main number on our website is probably a good way to start. I always like recommending to just come through our doors. You know, we've got friendly folks at every one of our campuses, at our front desks, and we've got a student success center on every one of our campuses.
And is that what they ask for? I mean, if they come in and say, I don't know what I want to do, but I'm thinking, and I don't know if I have the money, but, you know.
Diamond, we get that all the time, and we love it. For those who have a semblance of idea where they want to go, we put them in touch with an advisor to just explore. Here are the different programs. Here are the different time commitments. We have individuals come through our door who don't have any idea at all. We can put them in touch with our career and transfer services people.
Okay.
You know, they can do some assessment and see what are your interests, and then we can help guide. So at any stage, at any level of interest, when you come through our doors, we can talk to you and give you some options for where to go.
So just come to the campus, say, I need some help. Any of the campuses.
Right. Student Success Center is what you're looking for.
Okay, and say, I need some direction, and they will point them in the right direction and get guided.
That's right. We have a one-stop shop everywhere, from advisors to career and transfer to financial aid. So even if there's a concern about, I want to come through, but I'm just worried because I don't have the finances to cover it. I mean, our foundation works $3 million a year in annual scholarships. We've got the Promise program, you know, for veterans. We've got GI benefits and more. We've still got, you know, federal Pell Awards. We can help anyone who comes through our door find a way.
You're great. Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
My pleasure. Anytime, Diamond. Thank you.